Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of the League One review. I'm joined this evening by Tom from 4-0 written all over it. Thank you so much for joining me, Tom. How are you?
It's a pleasure, mate. I'm really good. It's been a decent couple of weeks of League One action. Looking forward to chatting about it. Thanks for inviting me on. And there's the scores on the doors at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, so this is slightly different to the previous 2 episodes because we've had some midweek fixtures, so it's a little bit of a bumper episode. So we'll try and fly through the midweek action and get on to Saturday's game, which is the important one. We faced off against each other, ended up a bore draw, but it wasn't as boring as the scoreline makes out, but we'll get onto that a little later. So I will bring the scoreline and the stats up on the screen now. So starting with Oxford against Crewe. I thought this was quite an even game, and I think we're starting to see a lot of this in League One, where teams are cancelling each other out. It's such a competitive league, and I think it's set up for a fantastic season. What are your thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, just looking sort of generally overall at all the I know we're starting with Oxford Crewe, but all the games, I don't think any of them were actually separated by more than a single goal on Tuesday night, which I suppose sort of tells you two things. Number one is kind of the impact that fans have had on the return to football and how that sort of, I don't know, maybe it's sort of brought the production value up of the games as such, as if behind closed doors. I think we sort of lost our way a little bit. I think across all 4 leagues that we lost our way. And also, secondly, you've just said it there, but the competitiveness of this league. And I think that's really important to remember, and how much of an exciting season that we are probably in for. But looking at this one, I mean, it looks like it's a penalty that separates the two sides from a draw, to be honest with you, in terms of possession. You're looking at the passes and all that, and shots on target. It looks like a pretty even game, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, very good penalty by Henry, slotted it away very neatly. And the notes that I've got on this are pretty much echoing what you've just said, Tom, about it being extremely tight, and pretty much it could have gone either way, and the penalty separated them for the draw. Moving on to Portsmouth versus Shrewsbury, I'll leave this one to yourself. Ryan Tunnicliffe getting on the score sheet very early on, but then it wasn't as plain sailing as you'd have liked 2 minutes in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think the stats on there are sort of, they look a little bit weighted in our favour when they perhaps shouldn't be, to be honest with you. It was especially those sort of last 10 minutes or so. We really, I don't know whether it's the case if we've played quite a few games in the last 14 days or so, and a little bit of tiredness perhaps. We had I think it was 7 or 8 minutes of extra time in that as well, which, you know, you can blame the fact that extra time has been added on, injuries, whatever. But I think it meant that we did play quite a prolonged game of football. And I don't think that Shrewsbury will be down where they are. And I know we're going to look at the league later on, but as the table, I don't think they'll be down there for very long, Daniel, because they are probably, with respect to you boys who played you yesterday, they are probably the better looking side that I think we played in terms of that threat to our goal. I mean, it's a great goal from Ryan, and he's had a really, really good start. I think he's been involved in at least every single goal that we've actually scored in the league so far. I know that's only a small crop of goals to take, but he's either assisted them or scored them, which is great to see. Possession-wise, yeah, I mean, Crewe's the only game where we've been inferior in terms of possession-wise so far. I don't know about yesterday either, to be honest, because I haven't had a chance to have a look. Yeah, I mean, it was an even game, wasn't it? So you're kind of looking at that and you're thinking, oh, Pompey 1-0 Shrewsbury. It's sort of, you're looking at it and you're thinking that looks like a pretty stalwart Pompey win, but it absolutely wasn't. And I think we were actually quite similar to yesterday. Actually, we were lucky to come away with what we did. Shrewsbury, good side. They got a sort of, they kept trying to get it up to a target man. I think Danny Cowley really realised that at half time, and we stopped that supply line, which was quite helpful, which meant that perhaps we didn't concede that goal that we were looking like conceding. I don't like to blame officiating, and I know we're in League One, but he was absolutely awful. Trevor Kettle, he's quite an elderly gentleman, and I think he's he's probably past it in terms of his officiating, because he made some really, and his linos on either side made some really sort of strange calls that even you could see from the stands they were just completely guessing at times. And
we've had a few run-ins with Mr. Kettle as well. He's he's not a great referee, but it's a tough job. I don't want to give them too much grief, because I think whichever way they go, they're going to upset one set of fans. But I think for me, I just want to see consistency. If they're poor, be consistently poor for both teams. And I think at this level, sometimes you see them lean towards one team or the other. And Trevor Kettle's definitely one of those.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the Wigan versus Wycombe. A late equaliser for Wycombe here on the 90th minute, but Wigan seemed to be clicking. Brought a lot of players in over the summer, and a bit of a stuttering start over the first couple of weeks, but I think they're starting to hit a little bit of form, and the players are starting to work well together. From what I saw, some very neat football midweek and on the weekend as well.
Yeah, we've got Wigan next up actually, Daniel. So that's an exciting one for us next weekend. That's an away trip. Callum Lang's been good for them for a couple of seasons now. He's one of their main talisman in terms of goal scoring. Liam Richardson's in charge of Wigan Athletic as well. He was under Paul Cook as assistant when Cookie was at Pompey. Really clever guy, really good football head on him. I think he's going to do really well with Wigan this season. Obviously, Wycombe are a team coming down from the Championship this season. Last season into this season. But they probably, I know this is a bit, I don't know if there are ever any Wycombe fans watching, but perhaps referees are not the best. And I don't think they're going to get any better either. Wycombe perhaps didn't quite earn their place in the Championship last season because of all the points per game or whatever. Haven't seen much of what they've got to offer this season. Not sure they'll be a side to come down and go back up. I think Wigan are much more likely to finish higher than Wycombe are this season. I actually know quite a lot about what they've been doing over the summer, because quite a few Pompey players have gone there. Tom Naylor, Jack Watmore, both been recruited from the days that Liam Richardson was at Pompey. Definitely Jack Watmore, I know, is a sort of a boy that's come through our ranks in the academy and then made the move to Wigan in the close seasons. I think they'll have a good season. I think they've recruited really well, and it's early days, but looking at that, Wycombe, you could say it's a bit sloppy of Wigan to concede late on in the 90th minute at home to Wycombe Wanderers. But I think Wigan are in for a good season, Daniel.
Definitely. I was interested to see how Liam Richardson had coped. I think he did really well with the expectations of surviving last season. And I was wondering if the expectations that currently a lot of Wigan fans have about top six, would that be too much expectation? But it looks like he's relishing it. So I think they'll be a top six team come the end of the season, definitely.
Absolutely.
Moving on to Morecambe versus Rotherham. Morecambe, very good start this season, but in this game, not a shot on target. And when you don't have a shot on target, you are not going to win a football game. Rotherham, plenty of shots on target, and the one that mattered was a cracking goal by Michael Smith on the 60th minute. I don't know if you caught that or not, but it was a decent hit from about 20 yards out. Maybe the keeper should have done a little bit better. It looked quite central, but I'm guessing there was a bit of movement on the ball, and it was a decent goal to split the two teams on the night, I think.
Yeah, when it's an absolute screamer like that, I don't think you can. You can, but I think the goalkeeper, you just sort of applaud the player when it's something like that. It's a worldie, don't you? And Michael Smith, ex-Pompey, literally everyone's ex-Pompey, aren't they? He was actually, to be honest with you, Daniel, he was really poor for us, and I'm really surprised at how much he's been tearing it up at Rotherham for quite a few seasons now. I'm very good mates with a Rotherham fan. He does YouTube as well, Smithy Boy. He was there and he had a great night. He was there at the game on Saturday too. Unbelievable strike from Michael Smith. And it was probably a contender for one of, I know it's early days, but one of Rotherham's goals of the season, I would imagine. It surprises me actually that it's 15 shots and 8 on target for Rotherham, yet still 50-50 possession. That's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Morecambe, a team coming up. I think they came through the playoffs, didn't they? Be interested to see what they can do in League One this season. And we go back to it, still early days, and these results are a very small portion of what we're taking, but early signs are, Rotherham looking like they're, I think that's their first win that they've picked up, wasn't it, on Tuesday of the season?
Not 100%.
Throwing you in it there, haven't I? But I think it probably was.
Let's have a quick check back. I think they may have won before then. They got beat by Wigan. Plymouth 2-0.
Oh, they beat Plymouth. There you go.
Yeah, opening day win for Rotherham.
There you go.
Couple of weeks back, I don't remember what I did yesterday. Moving on to Sheffield Wednesday, I had these down as maybe mid-table this season because of their off-field issues, but all of that seems to be under wraps at the minute, or kind of under control, and the recruitment has been fantastic, and they're showing that they're a force to be reckoned with this season. We matched them last weekend for around 65-70 minutes, but Barry Bannon, a class above, fantastic goal, and that just kind of set them on the way. And then a Tuesday night victory against Fleetwood, who started just as well as Doncaster, but got a win over the weekend, so they're off the mark as well. But I expected a higher scoreline, if I'm honest, on Tuesday night for Sheffield Wednesday, but a win's a win, however you get them.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to say great credit to all the Fleetwood fans. I mean, I saw something from a mate of mine on Twitter that said their town has a smaller population than the capacity of Hillsborough.
Was that Naples?
Yeah, Ben. Yeah. So you just think that's such a great stat to have. So yeah, I mean, great, massive credit to their travelling fans on the pitch. Looks like it's pretty even, doesn't it? I mean, you're looking at your shots and your shots on target. I know that's sort of, you can't really judge a game by those two stats, can you? But I'm with you.
Pretty close, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on the fact that I'm surprised that Sheffield Wednesday didn't stick a few more past Fleetwood, and I'll be interested. I'm not sure on a sort of a mid-table. I'll be interested to see how they do, because it's kind of walking into the unknown for them, isn't it? It either will go really well and they'll get straight back up, or it might peter into something of a mid-table season for them. So
and initially it's looking like it's been a very positive start, hasn't it? Lee Gregory on the score sheet, and I believe the top of the table at the minute, which is not nice viewing for Doncaster fans. On to the Lincoln-Bolton game. Bolton started the season with 2 3-3 draws. They seem to have sorted their defensive frailties out pretty quickly, with a respectable 1-0 away win against Lincoln, who are no mugs at this level.
No, they're not. And Danny Cowley was under them was on top of them as their manager, sort of thing, for a couple of seasons, and enjoyed a couple of promotions with them as well. Yeah, good side, Lincoln. Would you believe it? Ex-Pompey boss Michael Appleton's currently in charge. So this just gets better.
So many links.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And Bolton will be interesting this season. Big club, obviously had quite a similar sort of demise from where they were as we did all those years ago. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Bolton can do this season. It's good to see that they've. I know we're still only a couple of games in, but it looks like they've managed to iron out some of the leaky taps in a defensive sense for them, and it's a loss for Lincoln, but I'm sure they'll record a number of wins this season, because they were unlucky to miss out at the Stadium of Light in the playoffs last season, and I think they're going to be a team that will be up and around there this season, Daniel.
I agree, definitely. Watching the highlights, lots of missed opportunities for Lincoln. I think it could have gone in their favour if they'd have put one or two of those chances away, but that's football. Don't take your chances, and then it comes back to bite you, definitely. And I think that was the case with the game on Tuesday night.
Definitely.
On to Burton versus Sunderland. This was one of those surprise results on Tuesday night. Sunderland looking like, on the stats, absolutely bossing the game, possession-wise, shots on target. Burton, 1 shot on target, 1 goal. That is something else.
Absolutely, and I think, as you say, it is a shock result, and I think it's just one of those things that Sunderland will have a few of those, and all the teams that are fighting fit for promotion out of League One this season will have a couple of these games where just a team like Burton will surprise you. It's a Tuesday night, I would imagine they took a decent following with them, Sunderland. And I think I think it's a blip for them because they're a really good team, and I think they are going to be right up there coming into the season. They are getting a little bit old in terms of the age of some of their players, but yeah, I think that's a blip for Sunderland this season.
Yeah, I think Burton under Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Dino Marmaria, though, turned them around last season. I think they'll be fine this season. Potential dark horses for top 6, maybe. It's just such a difficult division to predict.
Yeah, Nathan's just said it. Anyone can beat anyone at the minute, and anyone is beating anyone at the minute, which is it's what we like to see, isn't it? As fans of League One, this one's interesting, Daniel. Actually,
I'm glad you were looking at the comments there.
Yeah, I was paying attention. I'm interested by this one because even as we're talking on Sunday after Saturday's games, which we'll be chatting about in a minute, that Ipswich is still yet to record a league victory so far this season, which is interesting. It's
a big surprise after their summer of recruitment, isn't it?
It is, and it's not gelling quite yet, and I don't know how long it's going to be. And they are throwing away the points early doors, which in a league like League One you don't want to be doing. And I think they're all well aware of that. Cheltenham, really good night for them, isn't it? I mean, it's and it's interesting that they've come from a goal behind as well, which is it's credit to them for having the character to come back from that. But as you can see, Ipswich dominating the game in terms of possession, edging it in terms of their shots and shots on target as well. So, they need to hurry up, Ipswich, don't they? And get themselves together.
I mean, I've got down from watching highlights of the game that Ipswich saw much more of the ball, pretty even on the chances, but a thunderous strike to put Ipswich 1 up. But then just great fight and tenacity shown by Cheltenham to turn that one around against one of the more fancied teams in League One this season.
Definitely.
Very surprise result, that one, I think.
Absolutely.
Moving on to Wimbledon versus Gillingham. Another one of those games where, looking at the stats, one team has bossed it. Wimbledon on top, but then as soon as the red card happened, they just kind of pushed on even further, got the goal. But then the equalising goal on the 97th minute is an absolute gut-wrencher for Wimbledon fans, but it was an unfortunate goal as well. Massive deflection, which just took it past the keeper and into the back of the net. So that'll be one where the fans are walking away. Although they've got a point, it'll feel like they've been beaten in that one.
There's only one thing worse than a 97th minute goal, and that's when it's an own goal, isn't it? But yeah, it looks like it's all got going in the last sort of 15, 20 minutes or so, isn't it? Sort of, you're looking at that.
Yes, a slow burner, and then that red card just kind of lit the touch paper, didn't it?
Absolutely.
Moving swiftly onto and swiftly past this one, Accrington versus Doncaster. Accrington, a massive bogey team for us. Always has been. I think they always will be. Whenever we go there, I don't expect a result, but I don't expect us to gift them the points as well. I don't know if you've seen the calamitous goalkeeping, but a long shot, no danger whatsoever. He's got Dahlberg's gone to catch it. It's slipped through his hands. It's hit the post. It's hit his face. It's gone in, and it just summed the first kind of 3 games of our season up. But what social media hasn't put out is the amount of world-class saves that he pulled off after that, and a number of world-class saves against you guys on Saturday as well. So he's a very good keeper. I think that's just one of those things. And as a goalkeeper, you make a mistake, and there's literally no hiding from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was about to say before you mentioned it that he's more than made up for something like that on yesterday, didn't he? In terms of the penalty save, and then obviously a couple of really good saves from some shots from us as well. So I can't add to that. You're the expert on this game, Daniel. So I don't really know what more to add.
I don't want to add any more. Let's move on. The quicker past that one, the better. There's 2 more games from the midweek. We've got MK Dons 2, Charlton 1. And MK Dons, one of those teams that have also recruited very well. I thought losing the manager may have impacted them, but doesn't seem to have. What's your thoughts on that, Tom?
I mean, I was really surprised when it came out that Russell Martin had gone to Swansea. I was thinking, why are Swansea, competing at the top end of the Championship? Here we go again. Ex-Pompey Jamal Lowe repping things up as their striker. Honestly, you couldn't write it, could you? Every single time. Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised how Swansea were attracted to Russell Martin, and obviously he's going to go when the club the stature of Swansea compared to MK Dons come calling. Troy Parrott's that's really difficult to say, ex Ipswich, but I've gone for it. That's your call, mate, on what Nathan said, Daniel.
Yeah, 100% on that one.
Also, I was going to say that you mentioned in MK Dons' recruitment. I don't think Charlton's has been too bad either. They nicked our keeper Craig McGilvery off us for over the close season. I know they let a few players go as well. I'd like to see Charlton fighting fit at the business end of the league this season, because I think they're a big club and they've got a lot about them. Lovely stadium, much like MK Dons, but Charlton, a big club in London, aren't they? And I'd like to see them do well this year.
Yeah, I thought they'd have been up there. They've had a bit of a stuttering start, like a few teams that I thought would be up in the top 6. But it's a long, hard season. There's a lot of football yet to play. So we'll look at the table later, but we'll not take too much from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The final Tuesday night game was Plymouth against Cambridge, another side that have come up and started pretty well, and a decent away point at Plymouth. I've got that Plymouth were unfortunate. I think they had a goal disallowed. I don't think it looked offside for me. And then a very clumsy challenge. I believe Joe Ironside scored a penalty. I think the penalty got missed and then he slotted it away straight after. It was a clumsy challenge. But yeah, Cambridge won't be complaining because they've taken a point away from a tough place to go, especially on a Tuesday night.
It's a long old way for those Cambridge fans as well. A mate of mine, I don't know if you know him, Josh Fusion, was actually in the Cambridge end for that one. And he, Plymouth, before you said it, I was thinking exactly the same thing. Really unlucky to not get more from that game, especially with a goal being ruled out for offside. But yeah, when you're in the Cambridge end and you get that equaliser, you go absolutely mental, don't you? And credit definitely for their travelling fans. I think they deserve that after a long old journey on a Tuesday. Yeah,
like I say, a long old way to go on a Tuesday night, something that
absolutely
I wouldn't fancy myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
That has been a very fast 22 minutes. I didn't expect it to take quite as long as that.
Sorry, everyone. We rambled on a bit there, didn't we?
10-minute fly through on Tuesday night and then spend a bit more time on Saturday. But there we are. Said it was going to be a bumper episode. So let's move on to the reason why Tom is joining us today. And that's because Doncaster played Portsmouth. And we've already kind of touched on it. It was a fairly even game. Honest opinion from the Rovers side, or from my opinion, I think we were lucky to get the point. I think Portsmouth had the better clear-cut chances. But I think overall it was a fairly even game. I think we edged the first half, but there was nothing where I thought that's, apart from the goal that was disallowed, there wasn't really anything that stood out as a really clear-cut chance, whereas Dahlberg saved 2 or 3 really good shots in the second half and kept it down to a 0-0, especially the penalty. But we'll start with the disallowed goal. What were your thoughts on that? Have you seen any footage from the push?
Yeah, I mean, I have, and to be honest, I'm surprised, because watching it in real time from a distance on iFollow, because I unfortunately couldn't be there yesterday, is that I didn't look like there was anything wrong with it. And once the referee blew his whistle, I was thinking that there'd been a flag for offside or something like that had happened, and I didn't notice the foul, which I think speaks louder than anything, doesn't it? The fact that the team that's actually won the foul didn't think it was a foul. It's one of those, isn't it? I think it was a case of like
I can see why it was given. Yeah. There's a little nudge in the back, but I sit down at the opposite end of the stadium, and I thought that the ball may have gone out of play. Right. I thought it may have been offside. I couldn't see a foul, and looking back at it on social media, you can see there's a little nudge in the back, but I think it's soft. I think we're unfortunate to not get away with that. But then second half, for me, Portsmouth, I wouldn't say dominated, but I'd say that you had the better of the second half. Like I say, 2 or 3 really good saves from Dahlberg, and the penalty, for me, definite penalty. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's sort of clear as day. I don't know what your geezer was thinking, but yeah, I mean, he's I think yeah, well, exactly, and it happens, doesn't it? Yeah, I completely agree with you. Second half, a lot more going on. Obviously missed the penalty, which the less said about that, the better. I think it's a great save from your keeper, but at the same time, I'm sat there thinking you're literally making it so obvious where you're going to put it. I don't know why Curtis didn't take it. I know Marquis wasn't on the pitch at the time, but anyway, felt like we were
Marquis had been taken off. I was surprised that.
Oh.
Think I'm back.
You're back. Yeah, I lost you there. What happened there?
Yeah, I disappeared for a second. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Not sure where I went, but we're back. I think everything's working.
Yeah, we're fine. I can hear you. Yeah. Carry on what you're saying, mate. Sorry.
It's thrown me. It's gone. My train of thought's gone.
Do you want me to crack on?
Marcus was off the pitch. I'm surprised that Curtis didn't take it. I agree with you. He telegraphed where he was going to put it, but
he did.
Dahlberg has now saved 4 penalties in the opening 5 games. So he's got a record of saving penalties, definitely.
And I think we looked, as you've already said, we looked a bit more threatening than you. And I think also it's worth mentioning some of the changes we made midway through the second half. I think they sort of stifled you a little bit. And then we went on to look a little bit more likely the ones to win it. But definitely on the balance of it, I know it's quite a football cliche, but yes, the draw was a fair result. And yes, you probably had the first half. And then looking back, we probably had the second. So you're sort of sat there thinking, well, in that case, I mean, looking at it, when there's reasons why you could have won the game, and then you look back at it and you think, there's reasons how we could have lost it as well. You think, maybe you'd be happy with a draw. I mean, we would have been really happy to snatch it with a pen and travel back home. That would be a good away win for us. And then on the flip side, it's a good point, isn't it? And at the moment, it's 10 out of 12 from 4 games in terms of points. So you can't really argue with that.
No, that's a great start, and yet to concede as well in the league, I believe. Am I right in that?
Absolutely. You are indeed.
So good start for Portsmouth. And Donny are finally off the mark in terms of points. It's not done anything for our league position, but we're off the mark. That's all we can ask for. So go around the grounds quickly, and we'll try and get this done in under 40 minutes. Hopefully we'll not spend 20 minutes on this, but who knows. So Rotherham, Sheffield Wednesday, another local derby for Sheffield Wednesday in August. We've got Rotherham next weekend, and looks like Rotherham have had the better of the game, but Wednesday, yet again, solid at the back and just getting the goals at the pivotal moment, coming away with the 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. It's local to you. It's local for both those teams as well. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those, isn't it, where it's 2 championship sides coming down, and in this league, I mean, Wednesday have edged it, haven't they? So yeah, we're more shots for Rotherham, isn't it? And so I think it's absolutely. I think
something similar on Saturday will do me very nicely.
I'm sure. Yeah.
On to Wycombe versus Lincoln, another tight defeat for Lincoln, and it were another case of missed opportunities. Had the better of the chances, in my opinion. 4 shots on target, more possession, but they just need a goal scorer. I think Tom Hopper, good striker, good at keeping hold of the ball and kind of the hold-up play. But in terms of goal scoring ability, the jury's still out in that. And looking at the last couple of games, is not delivered, and they've lost 2 games 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's a good win for Wycombe.
Yeah, definitely. We are flying through this now. On to Gillingham versus Morecambe. We said that Morecambe had a decent start to life in League One, but Gillingham have put a little bit of halt to that. A great hit for their first goal. Carriol on 4 minutes, absolute rocket. Equaliser for me should have been dealt with, and then a good solid penalty. Stockton, though, at Morecambe is currently the highest scorer in the league with 4 goals. I thought there may have been 1 or 2 more in and around that, but he's leading the line at the minute for Morecambe and the league.
That means absolutely nothing, though, Daniel, doesn't it? I mean,
at this stage of the season, absolutely nothing.
Oliver's a good striker as well for Gillingham. He caused problems when he was at Fratton Park last season. So good stuff. Good win for them.
Very good win. They're off the mark. And this one, another good win for Plymouth Argyle at Shrewsbury. I mean, you guys have played Shrewsbury. You said that they're a very good team. Why is it not clicking for them? Because we're yet to play them yet, so I've not really seen how they're set up or anything. But it just doesn't seem to be quite happening at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you took this crop of 4 games in the middle of the season, you go, oh, it's a bad patch for Shrewsbury, just because it's right at the start. I think we're all looking at it and drawing conclusions. What I would say is that how Luke Jepcott has not been picked up by a club bigger than Plymouth Argyle at this point in time amazes me, because he's been brilliant for them for quite some time now. But yeah, I mean, you look at it and you think, well, Shrewsbury have given it everything. Got to be more clinical with that. You can't have 17 shots and not have have one on target. It's mental, isn't it? But then they're dominating in possession. So something's not quite right, but I back them to sort it, because I saw glimmers of what they could be a good side this season.
So one to watch out for as the season goes on with Shrewsbury.
I might be completely wrong, Daniel, but there we go.
No, that's it. You said it now. That's take that as gospel. On to Sunderland versus Wimbledon, another tight game. Wimbledon started brightly, but as the game went on, Sunderland's quality just shone through. Great hit for the goal. It takes a deflection, which helps it in, which is unfortunate for Wimbledon. But 12 shots, 6 on target, a little bit more possession. Speaks volumes against the 5-2 for Wimbledon. But like I say, seemed to start well, but just run out of steam as the game went on.
And you've said it there, that's going to be the case, isn't it? Sunderland's quality is going to shine through all season when they're playing teams like Wimbledon with respect. Sort of, when you're a small little club going to a place like the Stadium of Light, it's always going to be, they're going to edge it in terms of fans, and they're going to edge it in terms of quality as well, aren't they? So I think you'll see quite a lot of that from Sunderland this season.
That 12th man for Sunderland is going to be massive this season.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Big scoreline at Fleetwood. They were yet to get a point this season. And then Cheltenham came visiting, and plenty of goals. 5 goals shared across the two teams. Bit of a topsy-turvy game. Cheltenham going 1-0 up. And then Fleetwood bringing it back, turning it around to 2-1. Alfie May, ex-Rovers striker, I take him back. Very good striker, very busy. Brought it back to 2-2. And as travelling supporters, you'd think, we'll take that. We'll take the 2-2. And then Shaden Morris pops up on the 90th minute after some poor defending, allowing the shot, and gut-wrenching. Absolutely gut-wrenching once again. I
think you call that a 5-goal thriller and a League One classic, don't you?
Yeah, a good advert for the league, definitely.
Absolutely.
Looking at the stats, fairly even game. But I think you said it, for the last team, need to be more clinical. If you're having 15 shots and you're only getting seven on target, you want to have that in double figures if you're having 15 shots.
Absolutely.
Without getting shots on target, you will not score goals. Although,
absolutely
not too bad. So we skip Doncaster Portsmouth. We've touched on that. On to Crewe versus Accrington. Another 1-0 for Accrington. They do the dirty work very, very well under Coleman. I like Coleman as a manager. I think he sets up teams extremely well, especially on the budget that Accrington have got. And I think they're one of those teams that nobody really wants to face, because you're going to be in a tough game.
Yeah, you do. And I think it's for Crewe, that 89th minute red card is just a final nail in the coffin, isn't it? And you can just, at that point, with a couple of minutes to go, whatever the stoppage time was on that one, there's no coming back from that, is it? So no. I think that's just one of those.
Some superb saves by Accrington's keeper. I think it's Trafford. Just take a quick look. Yeah, Trafford. Scored stopped some great shots and prevented Crewe from scoring a couple of goals. Some very good saves. Check the highlights out if you want to.
Lots of cautions on those lineups as well, Daniel. I saw a flash of yellow when you scrolled down there. Look how many of the. Look at
that. As I say, they do the dirty work very, very well.
Oh, and it was a second yellow as well. It wasn't a straight red for Offord as well.
Referee giving cards out like it was Christmas.
There you go.
We said it earlier, Ipswich not started well. I don't think Ipswich fans will be very happy with their start after the recruitment over the summer. Yet to chalk up a win, which is surprising.
It is, and Alex is not a happy man at the moment, and I don't think many Ipswich fans are, and quite rightfully so. You spend all the money, and I would imagine, I don't know the stats on it, but I would imagine they're the biggest spenders in League One over the summer. It's got to be, with sort of, here we go, ex-Pompey Connor Chaplin coming in, and you've got a really, really good talent whose name escapes me at the moment. It spent a bit of time at Barcelona, has come in. He started. He'll be on there. No, he didn't start. He will be on the bench. What's his name? Louis Barry. There you go. He's said to be unbelievable for them. So they've got a lot of sort of wise heads at this level on the pitch as well. But MK Dons be delighted, those travelling fans, with a point at Portman Road. I think that's a good start for them so far. Yeah,
definitely. I think the MK Dons fans would have taken that before a ball was kicked. But yeah, 1-0 down, brought it back to 1-1, 2-1 down, and then a couple of minutes later, some poor defending once again. He got caught napping with the ball, and then MK Dons went on and equalised and held out for the point there.
Yeah. On
to Charlton versus Wigan. So, as we mentioned, Wigan starting to click, starting to gel, and they're looking very, very dangerous. And a 2-0 win at Charlton is a very, very good 3 points.
Yeah, and it all got going in sort of the last 5-10 minutes or so for Wigan from a scoring point of view. And as you said, I think they'll be all right this season. I mean, to win 2-0 away at the Valleys, and it's no
mean feat.
Mugs. Yeah, exactly. And they're not. You can see that they've got something good going on at Wigan, and we're all a little bit nervous as Pompey fans thinking about the trip next Saturday. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game.
It will be. Looking forward to it though.
Yeah. One of the surprise results for me this weekend, I had a bet on. Hate to say it, but I had Portsmouth on my accumulator, but I also had Burton. The two teams with 100% records let me down for just over £2,000. So thank you, Burton. Thank you, Portsmouth. It's much appreciated. But this one, definitely didn't expect this. The 2 own goals from Hamer, couldn't have done anything about either. It was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they were pushing to try and get the equaliser, and then those 2 goals come in. It kills the game, doesn't it? In 6 minutes?
Yeah.
I feel for him because have you seen the 2 goals?
No, I haven't. No, but
the first one gets played across from the left and is just kind of stuck in the middle of the 6-yard box. Doesn't sort his feet out quick enough, hits him and goes in. The second one, Cambridge are coming down there right. He's gone to close the cross down. It's just hit him on the head and beat the keeper at the near post. So literally nothing he could do about either, and he'll not want to see any of those back last night, I'm sure.
Yeah, and the close proximity of them timing wise as well, and
yeah, I think I'd have asked to be substituted. And the final game of the weekend, another fantastic result for Bolton, 2-1 at home to Oxford. Another even game in League One. Question for handball for the Oxford goal. It's been played over the top, and Matt Taylor's controlled it with his chest, but his arms kind of out a little bit. Big shouts for handball there, but he's rounded the keeper well. Great composure, and he's pretty much walked it into the net. And then a great turnaround by Bolton. First goal, absolute stunner once again. So if you've not seen the highlights, go and check them out. Some decent goals from this weekend's football.
Oladapo is a great talent, and ex-Pompey Owen Doyle making sure on 63 minutes. There you go.
Should have done a drinking game for tonight.
Every
time he said ex-Pompey.
Yeah, should have done.
So that leads us on to the table. As we said earlier on in the video, don't take much from this. I think it'll start to settle down once we're 10 or so games in, but it's good viewing for Sheffield Wednesday, Wycombe, Portsmouth, all on 10 points, joint first. We'll not say Portsmouth are in third, joint first. How's that?
We like that. Yeah, we like that.
The remaining playoffs made up with Accrington, Stanley, Sunderland and Burton. Bolton started to turn it around, yet to lose a game. 2-3 draws, and then a couple of wins this week have put them just outside of the playoffs. And then we'll scroll down to the bottom quickly because this is not good viewing for myself. Second bottom, but we are not one of the teams without any points. We were up until Saturday, but we've got our first point. So we're off the mark. We've got a tough game next Saturday against Rotherham, but I think we'll be okay. We've got a solid first 11. We just need the injuries back. The surprise for me down here at the minute, apart from us, is Charlton and Ipswich. Not good viewing for those fans at the minute, but very early days. It will all change, I'm sure.
It will, and it's important to note that you haven't even got the last 5 form games to judge it on. You've only got 4 and then an empty space, which I think says it all, doesn't it? I mean, we haven't even
Exactly.
got, you normally, when you're about to play a team, you normally go, oh, well, let's have a look at their form, and we haven't even got that. So yes, it will all change. And a lot of teams that you're looking at on the screen will be in the other half of the league, and a lot of teams that are in the top half of the league will be in the bottom half. I just think that's just the way it is with early doors in the season, isn't it? But we will wait and see, and I'm sure all will change.
Definitely. So don't panic. If you saw yourself on that last bit, don't panic. It is all going to change. And that 40 minutes, I'm quite happy with that.
Good.
A little bit longer than the usual 30 or so, but it's been an absolute pleasure having Tom from 4-0 Written All Over It on the channel. Thank you for your time. If you haven't subscribed to 4-0 Written All Over It, please do. The link is in the description down below. Fantastic channel. You're just shy of 8,000 subs, aren't you?
I'm indeed.
So get over there, hit subscribe, get Tom over 8,000, and that would be fantastic. If you've enjoyed it, big thumbs up for us, please. Comments in the section down below, keep them coming. If you've not subscribed to myself, please click subscribe. And all that's left for us to say is thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for having me.